What's up, guys? This is Chris from DpadDubz, where we give you hot takes on the latest in gaming. Today we take our second step into the art of support, where we get specific on hero selection. This segment will be broken down and given to you in 5 points. First, we will go over the general process behind choosing your character, and then we'll go over the best character to play, depending on what game mode you're in. Rule number 1. Be like water. You must be shapeless, formless, like water. When you pour into a cup, it becomes the cup. When you pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. When you pour water in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can drip and it can crash. Become like water, my friend. Bruce Lee. You must be like water to play the role of support. There is no law, no 5-step process to becoming a master of support. We start with a mindset of water. I am here to support and enable my team no matter what they decide to play. The importance of game type and what map you're on is dwarfed by the importance of your team's composition. Before we even touch on elite support combinations, we start with being like water. Be proactive, not reactive. So think ahead. How do my tanks interact with each other? What DPS have been selected? Example, Rein Zarya is a powerhouse tank combination up close, but suffer immensely at range. What good is a nano boost if the Rein can't reach the enemy team? Lucio is their complementary support. Get that Rein in the fight and swinging his hammer. Put your Zarya in a position to use her bubbles in a fight so she gets maximum charge. On the flip side, if your team plays something more unconventional like a Wrecking Ball and a Risa, who are you benefiting with that same speed boost? Consider playing an Ana who can heal from afar behind the safety of the shield. We also need to consider what the enemy's playing. Don't die by your initial pick. Be like water and change mid-game. Zenyatta and Ana have the potential to be a deadly combination of healing and damage. 2 wildly different ultimates that synergize depending on what the team needs in that moment. But they can be overcome easily by flankers and dive tanks. Lucio is the best peeler in the game. His boop can fend off the flanker attacking your Mercy. His erratic movements can cause a flanker to overcommit and be punished by your teammates. Brigitte is the original flank counter. She absolutely punishes flankers who try to kill your team. Consider switching at all times. Is the enemy running double barrier? Farm your ultimate as Baptiste and destroy the enemy shields. Play Moira, who can be aggressive and heal through enemy shields, unlike an Ana who's easily countered by shield play. Be aware of how your team is built and how the enemy team is built. Don't be afraid to make a change. Change is constant and change is good. Alright, let's talk about who to play and what makes individual heroes shine in each different game mode. Number 1, control points. Control maps are unique to all other game modes in that each team has an equal distance to the control point and equal time to respawn after a death. With no advantage on spawn distance, as a support, we can manufacture an advantage with our selection. He goes by the name of Lucio. Lucio does a few important things for the team on control. He can escort the entire team to the checkpoint at the beginning of each round with speed boost, ensuring that your team will either make it there first or at the same time if the opposing team is also running Lucio. This is important because advantage is given heavily to the team that can take space first in this game mode. What Lucio really is a shepherd. His ring of healing and speed boost is visible to your entire team, naturally encouraging them to play closer together. Herd those little sheep. Lucio also provides what's known as a taxi. If you lose teammates before or early on in a team fight, you can quickly get them back from spawn with his speed boost, possibly even before that fight is over. Be careful here as you don't want to abandon your team mid-fight. If you are going to leave, be sure to communicate that before you leave the rest of your team high and dry. Alright, let's talk about if your other support player has already chosen Lucio, who is borderline a must-pick on control maps. Here are some other options to consider. As a rule of thumb, it's good to pair him with someone who can dish out a lot of healing, as Lucio's healing output is relatively low and should be used sparingly, as he's primarily there to boost your team's speed. Who is strong on control point maps and pairs well with the Lucio? Brigitte is a great option because sustained team fights typically happen in confined areas in and around the point. That's where she is the strongest. These areas are the perfect spot for a healer with a short-range swinging mace. If your team is playing aggressive with the Rein Zarya, Brig is a natural fit and creates a death ball when combined with Lucio's speed boost. Her ultimate is perfect for pinning the enemy team up against the ropes, providing your team with armor alongside her own personal speed boost. excellent for attacking. Baptiste is another hero who pairs well with Lucio. He provides excellent burst healing next to Lucio's slower and more sustained healing. His ult is perfect for sealing off lanes and gives your team a massive damage buff alongside increasing all healing that flows through it. His self-healing and immortality field make him an excellent choice for control. His ability to self-sustain is second to none, and his team-saving ability, while Lucio's sound barrier is charging, makes for a great combination. Be careful when running a Zenyatta with a Lucio support combo. Though it's not a terrible combination, you both can accidentally use your ults at the same time, which is typically overkill and provides far less value to your team than if used separately. If you choose to run this combo, just be sure to have comms with your other support player. Moira is another option on control, for now with an asterisk next to her name, due to the upcoming nerf she's scheduled to receive in the next patch. As of right now, she has the highest heals per second in the game. Her ultimate is elite for healing the team and breaking up the enemy team. She has one of the highest pick rates in the game, and for good reason. She's useful in almost every situation the game can throw at you. Also, she's just stupid hard to kill, so at least you got that going for you. Another important thing to consider when selecting your character is ultimate synergy. Most players tend to think only about DPS and tank synergy, say Zarya Graf paired with Hanzo Dragons or Sombra EMP with a D.Va Bomb. Support synergy is just as, if not more important than tank and damage ults. Support ultimates are typically broken up into two categories, defensive and offensive. Supports with offensive ultimates are Moira, Baptiste, Ana, and Brigitte. These create opportunities for a lot of damage or giving your team a distinct advantage at the point of attack. On the other side, Lucio, Zenyatta, and Mercy's ultimates are commonly considered defensive ults. What that means is that they use their ults in order to save the team from enemy attacks rather than inflict tons of damage. However, one of the coolest 200 IQ plays you can make is to use your ultimate offensively and take the other team by surprise when your team unexpectedly pushes in. Just because they are known as defensive ults doesn't mean you have to use them defensively, especially on control maps. Alright, let's move on to assault maps. In this game type, you are tasked with both attacking the enemy's base and then defending your base from the enemy. Your hero selection should slightly vary depending on whether you're on offense or defense. Assault maps, unlike control, have spawn advantages and disadvantages. On the first point of assault, the team on offense has the spawn room advantage. The second point, the defense has the spawn advantage. Their spawn room is just a short distance away from the point. It is important to note that defense also suffers a spawn delay, depending on the amount of attackers on the second point. The more attackers on the second point, the longer the spawn time is for the defense. This is crucial for assault. Okay, so attacking. Assault maps are notoriously difficult. It takes a considerable amount of team coordination in order to cap the points, especially the second point where the defense has a huge spawn room advantage. Attacking on assault maps comes down to ultimates. The team with better timed and synergized ults usually wins. Here's what to consider as a support. Our personal support pick here in the D-pad is Zenyatta. His Discord Orb increases damage done to that target by 25%. If placed correctly, your team can easily slice through the enemy. If you're a good shot, Zen is capable of killing most heroes in only 2 shots. His headshots deal 119 damage per shot. His ultimate is perfect for countering the enemy's final attempts at holding a point. It can destroy Wrecking Ball's ult and completely negate all damage from the enemy, with exception to D.Va Bomb, Junkrat Riptire, and McCree High Noon. Lucio is a great choice for attack as well. Like we mentioned before, he is a born shepherd. He's perfect for keeping your team grouped together and coordinated on attack. His ultimate can also be used aggressively. If your team is struggling to take space on the second point, pop your ult before the push. Give your team a speed boost and get in there. It's not about sustained team fights on assault as much. It's about getting onto the enemy point fast. This gives your team the advantage. Remember, the more teammates you have on the point, the longer it takes the enemy to spawn. Ana is a great fit for attack as well. She can provide healing from a safe distance, while the enemy is distracted by your team. Her Sleep Dart can keep an enemy hero out of the fight for up to 6 seconds. This creates an advantage for the offense through a 5v6 power play. In that 6-second window, you've created more than enough time for your team to get kills. Her Biotic Grenade prevents the enemy team from receiving heals for 4 seconds. If timed and placed correctly, This is an instant delete ability for your team. Nano Boost is another offensive ability. It can be paired with a variety of ultimates to provide an extra 50% damage to whoever has it. If timed correctly, this ability alone can break a defense. Pairs very well with the Reinhardt. On defense, your picks change. Ana and Zenyatta have no mobility, and if the enemy team chooses to be aggressive, you'll be a sitting duck, an easy pick for a coordinated offense. Yes, Zenyatta has the best defensive ultimate in the game, but if you don't live long enough to charge it, what difference does it make? We favor heroes like Mercy, Baptiste, and Moira on defense. They each have lots of mobility and can instantly save your team in a bad situation. A well-timed immortality field will save a teammate from things like a Roadhog hook or a Reinhardt pin. It's a safe place from enemy ultimates too, if timed correctly. Mercy's resurrection can swing the fight into your favor in an instant by keeping teammates from making the marathon run back to the point from the spawn room. Plus, her revive is priceless when up against such a distinct spawn disadvantage on the first point. Moira simply just does the most healing. She cannot be undervalued on defense. Extending the fight is her primary job. Now, the 3 healers we just mentioned are main healers, so make sure you pair one of those with another utility hero, say a Lucio or Brigitte. Alright, let's talk about Escort. In this game type, you play both offense and defense. Similar to Assault, each side will have a spawn advantage and disadvantage. The further you push the payload, the more the advantage falls towards the defense. Escort is based around long team fights. The maps are designed to have several layers of high ground and choke points, creating advantages for the defense by making them more difficult to kill. Sustained healing will be your best friend in these game types. As of right now, we believe Baptiste is the strongest support in the game. He provides 60 healing per shot with a splash healing radius up to 3 meters. With 12 shots in the clip and a regenerative burst that can heal allies up to 150 health, he's a perfect combination of sustained healing and burst healing in critical situations. His ultimate is perfect to boost the damage of heroes holding their high ground, or for breaking shields and pushing through enemy tanks on the payload. Side note, if you haven't seen it yet, Baptiste can break a Reinhardt shield literally as fast as the Soldier 76 with his primary fire. He's the sweet spot for healing and damage as a support player. Zenyatta is another perfect choice for Escort maps. While he suffers from mobility and has the potential to be countered easily by high ground, his ultimate is game-changing. Given the marathon nature of the Escort game type, pushing the payload through 3 stages of the map, he's able to use his ultimate multiple times per round. He can completely negate the ultimates of the other team and keep your team alive, moving the payload. We gravitate toward combos like Zenyatta and Mercy, Zenyatta and Moira, and Zenyatta and Baptiste on Escort maps, though Lucio is also common if our team needs the extra speed. Of course, your selection should revolve around your team, so if your team wants to run a Rein Zarya, then Lucio is pretty much a non-option. He's the fuel that keeps their engine running. Try to avoid combos of Mercy, Baptiste, and Moira. They all have high healing output, which in theory sounds good, but you end up overhealing, which causes you to charge ult slower, and less utility that could be used with maybe a different healer. Yes, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. Alright, the last game mode, we're going to talk about hybrids, so Escort and Assault. This is obviously just a combination of 2 game types. We've already covered both of them earlier in this video, and everything we previously covered still applies here. This is where hero swapping comes into play. Be prepared to swap heroes after capturing the first point. Since you are not pushing a payload on the first stage of this game type, it is important to play aggressive supports. After you capture the first point, you can swap to characters with a higher healing output. Prioritize pick potential over sustained healing. Trading kills with the enemy is a net positive for the team on attack, because our spawn room is significantly closer. On defense, we prioritize survivability. Our goal is to keep as many teammates on the point as possible. Losing even one player can be the difference in winning and losing. For everything else on Hybrid, go back and look at the notes on Escort and Assault, those all apply. Well, there you have it, the second step in our ongoing series about the art of support in Overwatch, choosing your hero. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel, it means a whole lot to us. As always, thanks for hanging out in the D-pad.